All right, get ready, everybody, because this one is a real doozy that you dug up for us, the Elisa Lam case. We've got piles of articles and research you sent about her death at that Cecil Hotel back in 2013. Los Angeles, right? What gets me, always has, is just how many layers there are. Young woman traveling solo. That hotel's got a creepy past, to say the least. And then that elevator video. I mean, come on, that freaked everyone out.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those cases that really sticks with you. And it's amazing, even after all this time, people are still debating what happened.
Totally. So Elisa, for those maybe not as familiar, she was 21, a student from Vancouver in Canada. Fashion was her thing, blogging too. And she shared a lot online, good and bad, which is important later on, especially about her bipolar disorder.
Right, and that's something we have to keep in mind as we go through this. Because Elisa being open about her mental health, it wasn't just her expressing herself. It gives us really important information to try and understand what might have happened.
It makes the whole thing even more tragic, you know? So it's January 2013, and Elisa's on a trip down the California coast by herself. You can picture it, right? Taking pictures at the San Diego Zoo, enjoying the sun. She gets to LA on the 26th of January and checks into the Cecil.
Or, well, back then, it was going by Stay on Main. Almost like they wanted to shake that infamous reputation, even a little. Because the Cecil Hotel, it's got a past, dark as they come.
Oh, tell me about it. Murders, suicides, we're talking serious stuff. Even Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker himself, he stayed there at one point. This wasn't your average budget motel.
Not by a long shot. And while it's easy to get caught up in all that morbid history, we got to remember the Cecil was also low-income housing for a lot of folks. You had a real mix of people, situations, not the glamorous Hollywood scene most picture.
Worlds colliding, basically, inside those walls. And it's in this setting that things start seeming off with Elisa. She's in a shared room at first, but hotel staff, and later on, even court documents, they say she's moved to a private one.
The hotel's own lawyer, later on in the lawsuit we'll talk about, he said Elisa was acting odd. And Amy Price, the manager back then, she talked about finding notes Elisa had left for roommates. Stuff like go home, go away, creep.
Chilling, yeah. It makes you think, was she already scared, not thinking straight? Here's the thing, Elisa. She was calling her parents back in Canada every single day on this trip until January 31st. That was checkout day. She was supposed to head to Santa Cruz next.
And that silence? That's when it gets truly worrisome. No more calls, no more blog posts, no Elisa. Poof, gone. Naturally, her parents are beside themselves with worry. Thousands of miles away, and their daughter's just vanished. They get in touch with the LAPD, and that's when the search for Elisa Lam really gets going.
I can only imagine. So the police, what do? They search her room, right? Even brought in those dogs, the ones trained to sniff out,
You did, yeah. Even did a sweep of the rooftop with the dogs? Yeah. Nothing. It's like she just disappeared into thin air.
Given everything we know about the Cecil, it's almost like, it's almost like that history was repeating itself in a way, you know?
Yeah, you can't ignore the hotel's past, that's for sure. And it all fit into the frenzy that happened when, on February 13th, the LAPD released something that really got people talking. The elevator video.
Ah, yeah, that's the one. Hardly any footage, like 2.5 minutes or something? But man, people online, they've been picking it apart for years. For those who haven't seen it, and seriously, how? What's going on in this video?
So it's January 31st, the day Elisa disappears. The video shows her inside one of the Cecil's elevators. And immediately, something feels off about how she's acting. She's pressing all the buttons up and down, over and over, looking out into the hallway like she's waiting for someone, or maybe hiding.
And then there's that part where she steps out for a second, right? Almost like she's plastered herself against the wall outside before darting back in. Her whole body, the way she's looking around, it just screams freaked out, paranoid even.
Totally. And then you've got the elevator doors themselves. They keep acting up, opening and closing while she's in there. Now, whether that was an actual malfunction or Elisa messing with a faulty system, it doesn't make the video any less creepy to watch.
No kidding. I mean, think about it. You've got the setting, the way she's acting, and she vanishes right after. It's like something straight out of a horror movie. Of course, as soon as it hit the internet, boom, theories everywhere.
Oh yeah, the theories. Some folks, they were dead set that someone was chasing her. Others thought she was on drugs or having some kind of psychotic break. Some even went full supernatural, claiming it was that Korean elevator game.
Right, the one that's supposed to summon, demons or something. Wild. And I remember some people even claimed the video itself was messed with, the timestamps being all blurry, maybe it was sped up, who knows, did any of that pan out?
While the internet was busy going down all these rabbit holes, the real investigation was about to take a very dark turn. So February 19th, a maintenance worker at the Cecil, he makes a discovery. a truly awful one, and this kind of puts everything else on hold. See, guests had been complaining about the water mostly. Low pressure, it tasted weird, had like a bad color to it even. So this worker, he goes up to the roof to check the water tanks, and that's where he finds her, Elisa.
Oh, man. Talk about adding to the whole creepy vibe of that place.
Sure.
Just awful. So what did they figure out? How'd she end up there, of all places?
Well, the autopsy, they did it pretty quick. February 21st it was. Accidental drowning, that's what they ruled it as. Her bipolar disorder, it's listed there as a big factor, of course.
Right, right. And the toxicology report? Anything there?
They found traces of her meds, the one she was prescribed, but nothing else. No drugs, nothing like that.
So officially, it's a tragic accident, maybe linked to her mental state. We know she was struggling with that.
Yeah.
But how does someone end up on a rooftop that's supposed to be locked? And then, I mean, inside a water tank. Those things are heavy. You can't just open them up easily.
And that's what makes this case so strange. It's those gaps, you know. The coroner, his report did mention that the levels of Elisa's medication, the ones they found, they were lower than expected. Like maybe she wasn't taking them right or at all.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that could explain acting strangely, but
hmm
it doesn't explain the rest of it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't quite add up. I mean, it's not exactly easy to just get up on a roof into a water tank. And that's what's got people still thinking about it, even after all this time, right?
For sure. Plus, Elisa's parents, they filed a lawsuit. Wrongful death. It was against the Cecil back in 2013. They said the hotel, they didn't do enough to keep guests safe to make sure things like this couldn't happen.
Yeah.
The lawsuit, it ended up getting dismissed in 2015, but still tells you something about how people felt about the whole thing. Even if you say, okay, it was an accident, it's still like, how did it happen? That part's still a mystery.
It's like one of those puzzles where you're missing pieces and you can never quite get the full picture. And sometimes those missing pieces, they're what really gets people's imaginations going. Speaking of which, this case, it's practically a modern-day ghost story at this point. Movies, TV shows, the whole nine yards.
Yeah, no kidding. Dark Water, that movie from 2005.
Yeah.
Little girl found in a water tank at a hotel. Definitely some similarities there.
Oh, right. Totally see it now. And weren't there episodes of those crime shows, too? Like Castle and that one, How to Get Away with Murder or something.
Those, and then, of course, Netflix got in on it. Crime Scene, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, they called it. Came out in 2021. Rehashed the whole thing. Facts, theories, all of it.
It's fascinating, isn't it? The hold this case still has. You know, maybe it's because deep down we don't like the idea that some things just happen, that there isn't always an answer or a reason. Makes you think, well, that's Elisa Lam's story, one that still has people talking and guessing. It's a reminder that sometimes real life can be a lot scarier than any horror movie out there. What do you think happened? We want to know. Hit us up on socials, let us know your theories, and we'll be back soon with another deep dive. Stay curious out there.